Morning, Katrina.
Hey, good morning. How's it going?
Hello.
I'm afraid my dogs have spotted a deer, so I'm going to be on mute. Okay, it's going to get real noisy for a minute. Sorry.
Hello. Hello.
Like between the orange chair and the organizer, yeah.
Welcome, everybody. I'm George from Runway. For those that haven't met yet, I think we might have some new folks from Intuit coming. We're on Zoom for the first time, so we're on the free plan, which means there's a 40-minute hard limit to the meeting. So keep that in mind, which I think is a good thing. I think today we're going to go over what significant was in the last release. And I don't know if we've got some presentation or demo about integration or not, but maybe that'll be for 2 weeks from now. And any walk-on items are just, you're welcome to fire them up.
Yeah, I added to the agenda a few things, George.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Oh, Changong was around. He could have done the demo. I thought you were on vacation, Changong. He is.
Hey. Sorry. Yeah, I was still in vacation, so, you know.
I'm joking.
I would love to hear what's
All right, so George, do you want to start?
Are the Spotify folks on the call? Sonic's here and the rest of the gang?
Yes, awesome.
Okay. I think the major announcement is that you guys are, sort of officially on the GitHub page and are, essentially co-sponsors of the project at this point. So thank you for that. Do you guys want to give us an update on internal deployments at modify, or problems you're having, or stuff that we could help with, or any news at all?
It's still early stages. We have some people inside the company trying out. Will be like a long project because we have like thousands of
Luigi.
workflows running in Luigi. So and we have our scheduler. It's open source, but I think only us are using it. It's called Sticks. So right now we reached the point where we have done enough proof of concept and evaluated. We evaluated some other alternative. Now we know that we're going with Flyte, but we still need to build some integrations with our infra. So right now we are in touch with a few teams inside the company to be early adopters, and we are doing the Flyte Java. We open sourced it like some weeks ago. Yeah, it's still a long road to have production ready and migrate all the company to Flyte, but it's the first step in that direction.
Yeah, it's a huge step actually. So thank you. And just as a reminder, if anybody else, it's very hard for us to know when people ask questions in the Slack channel and relate them to which companies they're working at or where Flyte is being used at. It would be really useful if anybody of you are thinking of using, exploring, just put your name either in the people who are attending the meeting bi-weekly sync, or preferably in the GitHub repo. That way we know, how it's being adopted, used, and where we can change and improve. And if there are comments and concerns when you are trying to use it, please raise them as well. That really helps us. Okay. Should we go over the next thing, George?
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and review
Yeah.
in the next release major fixes?
Yeah. So yesterday evening, we just released V 0.5.0 again, as promised, end of the month, every month. We've been doing this for 5 months now. And so this one, I think, is probably one of the biggest releases we've done till date. It includes a lot of new features, which should enable different modes of interacting with Flyte, as well as improvement within the CI/CD infrastructure as well, that helps in contributions and testing and so on. So we've been working hard on some of these things for the last few months. And let me quickly go over them. Maybe I'll share my screen. Oh, George, it seems you have disabled screen sharing. That's okay. If you can open up the change log, and it's in the meeting notes, there's a link to it. Just click on it. The basic infrastructure stuff that we have improved is all the CI/CD, most of the CI/CD rather, is on GitHub Actions now. And we will be migrating eventually almost everything, all the builds and Docker builds, checks will all be done on GitHub Actions. A few reasons for that. One, it's much more portable. So if you create a fork, you get all the CI/CD actions for free. That's pretty good. So you can run tests and etc. on your own forks. End-to-end tests are now part of almost every major component PR. So admin, propeller, and of course the Flyte repo. So that runs a full end-to-end test, and there's a way to add more end-to-end tests. And if Gleb or Nelson, you're interested in adding end-to-end tests with Flyte Java, you can use the same pattern, rather. And then for the core platform, the first thing that we've added is single task execution. So you don't have to register a workflow when you start iterating on a set of tasks that you want to work on. As soon as you write one task, you can start executing it. And with this also, if you have tasks that are containerless, so cases in which you don't need to build a container, like if you're running a query or if you're running raw container, which I'll just talk about, you can directly use a Jupyter Notebook or any other interactive environment and launch the execution. And the execution, the UI is still a little wonky. What you get is at the end of the execution launch, you get the execution ID. If you drop that in the UI URL, you go to the execution page. We have not yet built the list of executions for single task. And I think Katrina demoed it maybe about 2 meetings ago, and that's exactly, I think there are more improvements and cleanup in the interface itself. I think she demoed using a curl interface. There's a proper Python FlyteKit integration now. A hugely requested piece or feature was run to completion. So if you remember, if you've used Flyte, every time one node within the graph fails, we actually fail the workflow by default. And this may not be preferable in some cases in which you have a large workflow in which many peer nodes launch sub workflows, and maybe you have bug in only one of the sub workflows, then we abort the entire execution. And so if you're using memoization, you don't get the chance to memorize all the information and rerun just for the bug. So we've introduced 3 new flags or 2 new flags. You can now tell Flyte that continue even on error, and it will try to execute as many nodes as it can, which fall within the OK set. So that means if a failed node if a node has failed, then any downstream node from that failure node will not work. But if a node has succeeded, then downstream nodes that only depend on the succeeded nodes will continue. Or the other option is to fail immediately. There are lots of retries, improvements, and timeout improvements within the system all throughout. And the other big feature that we have been wanting to get to eventually is to move data loading to be a sidecar. And so we have merged a pre-alpha support for raw containers with Flyte Copilot. There's a set of sample notebooks that are available in FlyteKit, and more examples will be coming soon, and documentation will be added. We haven't added documentation because we still want it to be a little under the wraps. If you want to use it, ping me and we will start exploring and using it. There are a couple caveats that we want to make sure that we cover all bases before we release alpha and a beta and eventually a GA for it. And improvements in the Presto execution environment. And that's about it. Those are the major features. We've always, as usual, we've done bug fixes and other improvements. And I think 0.6.0 onwards, there will be a huge set of improvement that we're planning for the user interface and the FlyteKit environment. So keep looking onto the changelog and hopefully join this meeting. Then we'll have more demos coming soon. Thank you. George, you're muted.
Thank you, Kathan. Cheng-Hung, do you want to show anything today, or do you want to wait for 2 weeks?
I would like to wait for 2 weeks.
That's fine.
If that's possible.
Yeah, sure, of course. I think that's all for the agenda. Has anybody got anything else they want to walk on with?
Oh yeah, there's one thing. We have a talk tomorrow at Open Source Summit Embedded Linux Conference tomorrow at 1 p.m. PST. I think it's free. I'm not sure. I can share the link. I've shared the link to the talk in the meeting notes. If you want to attend, please do attend. That'll be great. And and I think it will be recorded and shared on YouTube, but probably in 2 or 3 weeks. And I'll be posting a link to it here. Cool. And one extra thing. So Kevin, so I think we welcome him to the community. He is helping us with TensorFlow operator integration. And he has prior background in TFX and Kubeflow and things like that. So welcome, Kevin. Cool.
Unless there are any walk-ons, I'm going to call it a wrap. Anything else? All right, going. Zooming working for everyone, I take it? I think that people it's not working for are not on the call, so we'll hear from them later. All right, so we are recording these. We'll post the links to the recordings in case anybody missed it. You want to show it to your friends. Otherwise, we're going to stick with this format going forward unless anybody wants to knock it off and improve it some other way. All right, everybody. Thanks very much. See you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.